driverless transit, because I think we're trying to provide mobility on guideways and roads. And I'm Alain Kornhauser. I'm professor of operations research and financial engineering at Princeton, and I run the Princeton Autonomous Vehicle Engineering Program, a bunch of other things. I've been around for a while. I think I want to start with, again, the message that I want to bring out is that I think that to provide the mobility, the way to go is to share the road and to share the ride. And since I first got involved with PRT in February 1971, so I don't know who was in PRT before February 1971. Is that here, Ed's? Yeah, okay.
February 1971.
Most of you weren't born. Anyway. And it's all about evolution. I guess, you know, I guess we're here looking to maybe where we're going, or the other sort of evolution slide, if we're going to show one, you know, maybe we're getting back to where we came from. I'm not sure. About 40 years ago at a TRB conference in Washington, the executive director of the American Public Transit Association said to me, he put his arm around me and he said, "Alan, PRT is the transportation system of the future, and always will be." So here I was, totally exalted and chopped at the knees more than 40 years ago. Well, after 44 years of being in the desert with the tablets, but unfortunately there was the golden calf and the burning bush and everything else, maybe we're finally approaching the promised land. Past. Well, it started maybe, we can take 1939, GM World's Fair, automated highways. This was the view. This is another one. I won't show the videos because they're so goofy from the 50s. I showed them last night, but I can't. No, it takes too long. You know, it's too Marxist. It's way too Marxist. It's way too communist. I won't. And in the 60s, it was so lovely. Actually, it looks very much like the Mercedes autonomous vehicle, I guess, whatever. And we sort of ended up here at I-5 in San Diego, sniffing magnets and platooning in 1997. And the real problem with automated highways is that there was no feasible way to get started. New Jersey DOT was not going to build an automated highway without automated vehicles, and GM wasn't going to build automated vehicles without an automated highway, and the chicken and egg never happened. But 50 years ago, correct, 50 years ago, Westinghouse Skybus outside of Pittsburgh automated a bus that ended up at Tampa that sort of came over here. I had two pairs of pants then. That, you know, really works very well at JFK and so on. And the only problem with the APMs is it serves the few to the few. So if the mobility problem that you all have here in this area is to serve a few from the few, for the few, hey, we got the solutions, no problem, done. Then personal rapid transit with Bill Alden, or maybe that's where it starts. And we've heard about Morgantown. Pants again. That's Henry Posner III. He owns railroads around the world. And at Orly, and, you know, at Heathrow. And Heathrow is really a good example. And it is an attempt to serve the many to many, the really tough problem. But maybe maybe we shouldn't have called it personal, because I guess then people think that it has to be personal, and the exclusive guideway, man, it's expensive, or whatever, or the venture capitalists out here, I mean, they'll invest in code, but man, you show them a piece of something that gets like dirt under their fingernails, oh, whatever. And, you know, we do have Morgantown, and it is very much of a success story. We've heard about how well it operates and so on. And finally, somebody's taken a look at to complete it. But then about 10 years ago, the view somehow changed a little bit. We had the DARPA challenges. This was the Carnegie Mellon vehicle in 2004 that won 7.8 miles autonomously. Or no, I guess that was their 2005. Their 2004 vehicle only won 7.8. 2005. This was a Princeton vehicle. We had no money, and that was really great. And we did it all with vision. And we did reasonably well. Of course, the vehicle had to celebrate and enjoy the victory too, and get a little, you know, taste of the bubbly. And all of a sudden, somebody out here in a garage, like, took 50 people. You know, what's a person cost you? You know, fully loaded, maybe 300. You know, $15 million, and that company, that $15 million a year, isn't even a rounding error on their balance sheet. They just threw them in a garage and got something. So let's just back up a little bit and talk about, I like to talk about Quality of Life 101. And in Quality of Life 101, the environment is really important. And I'm serious. Clean water, clean air, greenhouse gases. You know, a few days ago, or I guess I did this, you know, a few weeks ago, even the Pope was on board. You know, you really want the high-paying jobs that exist here in the Valley and everywhere else. And really, what adds to the quality of life is mobility. You know, there is a direct correlation between quality of life and mobility. And it's, you know, so staying at home, which we could solve the mobility problem by staying at home, really wouldn't, unless I just saw some really great virtual reality stuff today, because one of my students is head of marketing of a great virtual reality company. But in that mobility, what's really important is safety, and environment, and accessibility, convenience, and the other things. But in fact, the only reason why there's any public oversight on top of the mobility is because of the safety. The safety is the key. I just went through the previous session with respect to standardization, all about safety and the public oversight that takes place there. Where we've been with safety, we've been doing really well. Deaths on the highways have been going down. In 2012, they went back up. What the hell? You know, and the problem is that we love the car's freedom and mobility, but the continuous vigilance is an unrealistic requirement for drivers. And in fact, I put on my makeup in the car in the morning, and I toot my own horn. And I mean, this one I actually took, this is some woman showing me her lapdog as we're driving down I-95 outside of Washington, D.C. Of course, I took my hands off the wheel and took the picture. Excuse me. Excuse me. And this is the best thing you could do if we didn't have to pay them. Whatever. I won't play. No, not in this crowd. And at present, NHTSA a couple of years ago came out and said that car crashes cost in the U.S. 871 times 10 to the 9th dollars. So if you divide that by the 310 times 10 to the 9th people, you get like 2.8 times 10 to the 3rd for each man, woman, and child per year. That's 2,000. You say, oh, geez, I don't pay that much in car insurance. Well, you pay a lot, and then everything you buy has part of it in there that pays for this stuff. And when you actually look at the number and you go through that as to what the carnage on the roadway really costs us, and in fact, you know, only about a third of it you can actually count dollars. These are dollars you can follow, you can audit, you can count those suckers, you can put them in a cigar box. The other 2/3 are sort of, you know, what happens all the crap you have to deal with. And so the real question here is, with respect to this enormous load on the country, you know, the question is, can technology help? And if we look at the human versus the automation on terms of an ability coordinate between very bad to perfection, and look at it over time from yesterday through today and tomorrow, in that evolution, humans might end up being like here on this chart, and automation has been way down there. You know, we've been a whole hell of a lot better. Hey, we're great, you know. Thank you. Automation has really improved over the years, and humans, in some sense, we've gotten a little bit worse. We have Apple selling us Apple Play so that we, of course, watch here instead of watch there. Google's trying to sell us advertising and buy stuff. Verizon tells us whatever, NBC, sports, Comcast, you know, whatever. Ooh. Can you hear it? Oh, they're going to lose their father and husband in the test. Oh, no. All the crash mitigation work we've been doing. Wouldn't it be better to avoid the crash in the first place? You don't have the crash, the 871 billion disappears. Now you'd have to get rid of all of them, but what if you could get rid of some of them? This is probably the best commercial I think's ever been made. That is an enormously compelling motivation. That woman, if she would have seen her kid get crushed by someone who knows why, we don't even care why, her next 40 years of her life are toast. You wonder where that other two-thirds, that other essentially 500 and some billion dollars comes from when NHTSA did their number. Okay, I got 2 minutes. You know, this is a business case here. And this business case is going to cause me to go out and buy one of these guys. And in fact, the business case is so damn compelling that maybe the technology is going to be so damn good that it's going to be able to replace the human. So in this evolution, it may turn out that in fact the automation, we have a crossing in this thing. That in fact the automation does it better than we do. And the money on the table is almost $900 billion. So the main premise that I have is that we're on the verge of seeing smart driving technology that we can develop at a cost that is less than the net present value of the expected reliability savings that technology can deliver. If we do that, then guess what? Insurance pays for this. They make more money. They'll take your premium, put it in there, and you'll be happier. And they'll make more money. Why? Because, holy man, they can buy it. We don't have to ask government. They'll do it. And in the end, high-quality jobs are created, mobility is enhanced, lives are saved, injuries avoided, disruptions averted, and the environment will be improved, all for free. And in fact, this is how we make Uber into PRT. Because in fact, then we can basically take that and take this thing as to where we are in the levels of automation currently, and we can be sitting way up here in mixed traffic with respect to completely automated, and we can put Uber out there to provide autonomous taxi distribution. And the key way that we improve the environment is what we do with Uber, and with that Uber PRT system is we, of course, start out with having in that business case, we basically marry these two things, in which we then take a network for which we might have it operating within that network, but then have it leak out into the community and really solve the many-to-many problem. And the way that we help the environment is in the process of doing this. We take the 30 million vehicle trips that take place in New Jersey every day, or the billion that take place in the nation every day, and we allow for this system to be able to do ride sharing. That's the sharing piece, to get the average vehicle occupancy from barely 1, which it is now, and I won't go through the arguments why it's not even 1, to 2 or greater. And what does that do? If you get the average vehicle occupancy from 1 to 2, you chopped energy in half, you chop pollution in half, you chop greenhouse gases in half. There is no other public policy out there that even begins to talk about that. And you get the mobility. Thank you. I'm out of here. I've been forced off the ground.